Shame is a powerful drug, but authenticity is the cure. And I'm going to go into that and what that means for me. Because yesterday I decided to write for the first time in a long time and post something online that was very personal and very vulnerable to me, describing the situation I've been in, which has been a very low emotional and mental state, a lot of confusion mentally, just in my thinking, in my processing. There's been a lot of emotions in the way, and there's been a lot of financial challenges for me in the past months, but really for the past year. Ever since I made this decision to go back into coaching, there's been one challenge after another. And whether it came in the form of a difficult client or having to learn new business systems and deal with the learning curve of becoming an online entrepreneur again, because I've been going through it. I've done it in certain forms at certain times in my life, but then I've taken long breaks for periods of healing, rehabilitation. I had to heal my brain, and then I had to reemerge on the scene as a coach and as an authority and as a professional and as someone who's got it together. And when I don't feel like I have it together, I start to lose confidence in myself, and maybe you can relate to that. You may have collected a lot of skills and certifications like I have, and then life takes you through it. As one of my mentors says, life lifes you. And what he means by that is that you can't really escape life and what happens in our life. We try to have the illusion of control, and a lot of personal development is about control. Take control of your mind, take control of your emotions, set goals, make choices, be intentional. And all that works to a degree, but life is also going to happen. And a lot of things are out of our control, and we can't possibly be in control of all those things. And if we try, then we're, as another mentor of mine said, we're trying to become the general manager of the universe. And we're not. We're not the general manager of the universe, and we don't control all things in creation. We are creators, and that is our power. We have free will, and that is one of our virtues that God has given us. But at the same time, we're human, and we're going through a very human experience, and sometimes we deal with lows and highs, and sometimes we're in a state that isn't reflective of our true power, but that's where we are. And the thing that brought me to shame is that I felt like I should be farther along than I am. I should be in my power, I should be in my confidence, I should be in my clarity, and have all my systems and methods and tools in place so that others may follow the path. But what I've discovered is that even with all our systems and tools and processes, it's really about authenticity and just being where you are at this current moment, right? There's a big piece that I want to share here, and that is acceptance. And acceptance comes when we've truly felt the grief, because there's going to be some grief and there's some frustration. There can even be some shame that emerges out of inaction or not doing what we think we should be doing to keep up with our peers or to maintain an image that we have for ourselves. You know, the way we want to present ourselves online, in social media, amongst our peers and friends and family, the way we want to be seen is not always the way we feel inside. And so there's an incongruence there. There's a lack of authenticity, let's say. If we're not being true to where we are and expressing from that place, if I'm not fully in my power, I need to admit that to myself. I can't lie to myself, because it's going to come through if I keep painting a vision of things are going to get better, things are going to get better. There's a lot of wishful thinking in the personal development and spiritual space. And people need optimism, but we also need truth. We also need authenticity, to just be where you are and admit where you are. Be open and transparent about what you're going through. And that's where I'm at right now. So I wrote an article a while back, and this phrase came through me, and it said, authenticity is the new currency. And I'm still exploring what that means to me. But what I think it means is that people are going to recognize us when we're in our true expression, when we're in our vulnerability. And that vulnerability may turn into power. It may very well be our power. to be transparent, to be open and honest in all situations. When truth is needed, we need to show up with the truth about who we are, where we are, what we're doing, and what we're currently unable to do for ourselves. Sometimes it takes the support of a friend or a family member to help us out of a tough situation. And I truly believe we need each other. We can't do it alone. And if we try, we isolate even more. We become even more shameful and shame-filled because we're trying to do it alone, and we're not asking for the help and using the resources that we're already given. And so not a lot of, if you have a big vision for your life and you think that should be here now, and it's not. I've dealt with the same frustration. It's being where we are. It's accepting this moment and being okay with where we are and who we are, and having compassion for the person that's going through it, and speaking to that person with compassion and kind words, and developing that inner voice that is compassionate, that is kind, that is supportive, and developing that personal relationship with ourselves, so we're not always turning to that negative voice that is keeping us in a low state, that's keeping us reflecting on the past and our failures and where we're not showing up, and just being kind and compassionate to ourselves, and then experiencing some kind of gratitude for this current situation and what we're going through, and extracting any lessons that are here for us, because that's the gratitude piece. If you can see the lesson in why you are where you are, the acceptance is really understanding. Acceptance is sometimes a tough concept for people to wrap their heads around. And the way I've understood it is that acceptance is really trusting the universal flow of life, trusting that what needs to be here now is here, because that's your reality. You can influence your reality, you can change your reality through habits and actions and decisions and having clarity. But if you're going through it and you're not in a place of clarity and you're not ready to act, then just be with that too, and have compassion for yourself during these periods of transition. If you need rest, take rest. If you need to hibernate, then hibernate. But just know that that's a period you're going through, and that you can come through it, and you will come through it in time. But just be easy on yourself and be honest with yourself, because we can get into self-deception saying, oh, just another day of rest, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, and that can become a negative pattern and a pattern of procrastination. But what we're doing here is we're just being honest with ourselves. What do I need? What's true for me? If I need a day of rest, then I take a day of rest. But honestly, what I learned is that I need to be self-expressed, and that's one of my highest virtues, to be self-expressed, to use my creative potential and power. And sometimes it's going to come through my writing and through vulnerability, and sharing vulnerably. For me, that unlocked something yesterday. I posted a vulnerable share, and it immediately unlocked something inside of me, so that I could feel more aligned with myself. I could feel more authentic within myself. I'm expressing where I'm at. I'm telling the truth. And maybe that's what some people need to hear right now. They don't need more bravado and gung-ho and rah, 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 and go out there and kill it and hustle, hustle, hustle. That culture is dying, and the truth culture, the authenticity culture, is emerging. And so that's what I mean by authenticity is the new currency. I believe that the leaders in the near future, if not now, are beginning to emerge as the authentic ones, the truth tellers, the ones who are telling it as it is, and not trying to always paint a pretty picture for people that are still going through it. They can commiserate, they can be with those who are going through it, they can hold a higher vision, they can even be in a better place. But we need to admit our humanness, we need to admit our fallibility, our failures, our inconsistencies, where we're out of alignment, so that we may come into alignment and collectively have this awareness that truth is really aligning with that inner self that knows what to do when we get out of our own way and stop second guessing ourselves, comparing ourselves to others and where they're at in their careers or in their lives. I've learned that the hard way. I've had many peers that have become much more successful than me in material terms, or the way that I perceive their lives to be. You know, maybe they live these exotic lives and travel constantly, and they're being called upon to host retreats or show up at festivals or give speeches or give talks, or they have, you know, they're training 30 people at the same time in a certain modality, and they're filling all their spots, and they're being sought after in many different areas for their expertise, and that's great. And a part of me aspires to that, but has it happened now? Not right now, because I haven't been consistent in my own message and bringing it fully from the heart: truth, authenticity, vulnerability, and finally reaching that place of power within myself that is just whole and pure and honest and self-expressed in whatever form that takes. So I'm just being true to where I'm at right now. I've really been going through it. This has been a tough time on this planet for a lot of people, and a lot of people in my community that I've talked to are going through it, and they're attempting to shift out of it. But we're also, you know, at the mercy of a lot of transition in our universe, in our planet. This is an interesting time in our planet's history where a lot of collective changes are taking place in the collective psyche, and we're working through it collectively together. And, you know, the leaders of the future are going to be the ones who can tell it as it is, who can tell the truth, who can be authentic no matter what, and stop putting on airs and stop putting on facades and creating, you know, a persona, a spiritual persona who's infallible, who's invulnerable, who's all powerful. You know, we need to admit our humanness while we align with this divine ability within us. And yeah, and just, you know, grace is the word that I want to communicate. Just having grace, receiving grace when we need it, when we feel that our human has done as much as it can, receiving that divinity, the power of divine grace that comes through and works through us. Because really, ultimately, I can express my personal story, but it's the moments of grace that I believe touch people the most. And grace is how we allow life to move through us. And one of the things that I heard today in meditation was that the art of allowance, which I've been developing, which is kind of an idea of philosophy for a living, it's really about allowing life to lead and allowing your heart to guide you. And that's it. That's the art of allowance. It's creating your art. It's creating your life as a work of art. Allowing life to lead, allowing your heart to guide you, and tuning in to receive that guidance daily. And I believe that with that power, with that ability, with that training to know how to tune in and listen and to follow life's path the way it's guiding us to walk that path, we come into our power, we come into our own, we come into our self-expression. And so that's the message that I want to leave you with today. No matter where you're at, if you're suffering, if you're really going through it, just take the time to be compassionate with yourself. Do your best to arrive at a place of acceptance for what's transpiring right now, and the position you're in, the emotional state you're in, the mental state you're in, even the physical state you're in. We need to work on those 3 levels before we can get into any higher spiritual evolution, right? We need to work on the mental, emotional, and physical planes in order to evolve and allow divinity to come through. And this concept's known as involution, right? We evolve ourselves towards the divine, and the divine descends down into us as we clean our vessel, as we clear, you know, the blockages, and we strengthen this vessel, this body, this mind, this heart. We strengthen those 3 areas so that we may align with the truth and receive the truth, and start to rest on this higher vibration, this creative frequency. That's where we're headed. I believe it's going to come through authentic expression and just being our true selves, and everything else is going to fall away. All the leaders who are out of alignment, who are speaking half-truths, who are hiding their shadow qualities and their fallibilities, and trying to be all-knowing and all-perfect and all-powerful, are going to be exposed. And authenticity is really going to be the determining factor for those who begin to ascend. And I say that in the sense of their status, so to speak. And I don't mean that status is something we should chase after, but people will be seen as their authentic selves as they express themselves authentically and do things that are in alignment with their highest self, being congruent with what they do, think, and say, and starting to show up in a new way so that we may move through this period of falsity, false selves, all this constructing fake identities, personalities, personas. It's falling away, and we're seeing that in the world, that it's being exposed, and those people are being seen for what they are, which is a facade. And the truth will come out. We are remembering who we are as a collective species, as humanity, and we're coming into our power, and we're coming into our remembrance of who we are and what we're here to do, and the collaboration that's possible when we come together and come from the heart and work on the passion projects, the things that are close to our hearts, the things that our hearts wants to birth into the world. And this is really the magic. That's the magic of community. That's the magic of creativity. And that's the magic of collaboration. So this is the vision I see moving forward. And I'm going to keep expressing myself from my truth and where I'm at currently. And any level of success that I've desired and hasn't shown up yet, I need to just be okay with that. Be okay with it. This is where I am now. For some reason, the universe put me here. There's lessons to be learned here. So I will be compassionate with myself. I will accept where I'm at and who I'm being at this moment with compassion. I will accept things as they are, knowing that I can initiate some change, but I can't control everything. And just finding the lessons. That's the gratitude piece. Those three virtues, compassion, acceptance, gratitude, those make up the center of the heart. In my heart map diagram that I've devised, those three virtues are what I call the heart virtues. And those help you navigate life. It helps you stay true to yourself, remember your truth, and start to communicate from that place of truth so that you may move forward with authenticity, with alignment, with more aligned power and more clarity in your message, because you're in touch with the core of who you are, and you're not fabricating a personality so that others may approve of you and see you in a different light than really who you are. Because if you tout some image or status or version of yourself that is not true, and then I see you in person and see that you're not an actual representation of what you've been saying, there's going to be some inconsistency with that. It's not going to align, and people are going to see that. And I feel like, as I've lived my most authentic expression, I can see through those people very quickly. And a lot of those people pull back from me, and I've taken it as a sign of rejection sometimes, because I felt like maybe they don't want to be around me because they don't like me, or I'm not acceptable, or I'm not likable. But really what it causes, if you're an authentic person, what it causes people around you to do is that it brings them into awareness of how inauthentic they are and what they need to do to be their authentic self. And sometimes people aren't willing to do that. It's painful to look at some of your fallibilities, your faults, your shortcomings. It's painful to look at your shadows and some of the beliefs that are driving you, and some of the characteristics or traits that you carry from your upbringing, from your surroundings, from your life path. And it's just about course correcting from here, and not taking things so personally, just seeing this as a collective evolution path that we're all on, and we're supporting each other to come into the truth of who we are, so that we may be creatively expressed through this body vehicle and bring that gift to the world. Whatever that is, whatever your gift of expression is, I hope you're working on bringing that forward in a way that makes you feel good, that would indicate you're following your bliss, and then allowing yourself to release that in a way that feels joyous and serves others. And one of the things that John DeMartini said lately that really struck a chord is that if you're experiencing some level of poverty, chances are you don't care enough about humanity. And all he's saying is that you have a divine skill, you have a gift that's been given to you, and you've developed your talents for however long. Now, what are you going to do with that? And the root of turning that into a service or an act of service really comes from the compassion you have for others and your desire to give back and be of service. But you can only do that when you take care of yourself first. How can you be compassionate for humanity as a whole if you're not compassionate for yourself and where you're at this moment in your life and what you're going through? So speak to yourself kindly. Come into acceptance of just your life as it is has not been an accident. It's been a divine orchestration of all the events, characters, people in your life, situations, even upsets and disappointments that have changed you, that have turned you into this person. Now, you do have a choice in this, and one of the choices is become resentful and miserable about what's happened to you and deny it, right? Claim the victim or the innocent or the orphan. You know, these are archetypes, and what we're really here to do is become the hero of our life. And so we're noticing that innocence may be the archetype that helps you connect to that gentle, vulnerable, soft part of you, but the hero in you is really going to activate that power and transmute it to bring it out into the world in a powerful way that has an impact, that makes an impact on the world, because you're in your gifts, you're in your power, you're expressing from your truth. So think about these things that I've told you. That's really what personal empowerment is. It's just coming into alignment with your true self and being good to yourself and creating a relationship with your heart, so that your mind is not your worst enemy, but your mind goes to work for the heart, in service to the heart, and your heart begins to manifest its expression, its vision, what it wants for life through you. Now that you're in alignment, you've come into alignment, you've brought your mind into alignment with the soul and the heart and the spirit, and your physical body is the vehicle that carries it out, that puts it into form, right? Brings it down into the physical plane and makes it real. So let's make things real. Let's be real. Let's be our true, authentic selves, and let's do away with all this nonsense that is not us, and just be compassionate with where we're at, so that we can move forward and create with power. That's my message for today, and I hope you receive it well wherever you are. Much love.